Hi, and welcome to Diabetic Diet Plans Made Simple, the eating guide for diabetes, new for 2013. A new diabetic diet and meal plans for 2013 by Richard Koch. Richard Koch is an author that has long had an interest in all the things natural, including herbal remedies, homesteading, and the diabetic diet, among other interests. After he became ill, he became extremely interested in finding the most natural and safest ways possible to deal with ailments that he currently suffered from. His research led him to the world of organic foods and natural herbs, which he spent most of his life focusing on, and in trying to find the best solutions for himself, also decided to share what he had learned with the others to help them get over their problems. Richard is present. Richard presents all the facts, both the positive and negative, as he wants to leave nothing out that could be of great importance. Chapter 1: Diabetes, Types and Symptoms. Diabetes, which is typically referred to as diabetes mellitus by doctors, refers to a set of metabolic diseases where an individual has elevated glucose levels in the blood, i.e. blood sugar, either because the production of insulin is not sufficient or because the cells of the body do not react to insulin produced, or both. Individuals that have high levels of sugar in the blood will usually be hungry, have an insatiable thirst, and urinate frequently. There are currently 3 forms of diabetes. The first kind is known as gestational diabetes. This form of diabetes occurs in females when they are pregnant. A lot of women contain extremely high blood glucose, and the body is not able. A lot of women have extremely high blood glucose, and the body is not able to make sufficient amounts of insulin to carry the glucose to the cells, causing the levels of glucose to rise. The diagnosis is typically made during pregnancy. Most of the females with gestational diabetes are still able to control the symptoms with diet and exercise. The other form of diabetes is known as type 1 diabetes. With this form, the body is not producing sufficient insulin. A few individuals might refer to this as an early onset of diabetes, juvenile diabetes, and insulin-dependent diabetes. Individuals typically develop this form of diabetes in the teenage years or early adulthood sometime before they're 40. This form of diabetes is not as prevalent as the other forms. The instances of diabetes are type 1. The instances of diabetes that are type 1 are approximately 10%. Individuals with this form of diabetes will be required to get injections of insulin for the remainder of their lives. They also have to adhere to a special diet and take blood tests on a regular basis to maintain the levels of glucose in their blood. The frequency of type 1 diabetes in persons under 20 years of age increased by 23% in the US alone between 2001 and 2019. This is based on data provided by the CDC. Now, type 2 diabetes. With this form of diabetes, the body is either not making enough insulin for the body to function properly, or the cells are not responding to the insulin produced, which is known as insulin resistance. The majority of instances of diabetes found around the world, approximately 90%, are type 2 diabetes. A few individuals might be able to manage the symptoms of this form of diabetes by monitoring their levels of glucose in the blood, exercising regularly, sticking to a healthy diet, and losing weight. In spite of this form of diabetes is a disease that is progressive, so it will worsen over time, and the individual will end up having to go on insulin, typically in the form of a tablet. Obese and overweight people have a greater risk of getting type 2 diabetes when compared